Hello there. Good evening. Let's start with reading and speaking section. القراءة والتحدث. The not so distant past. The not so distant past. Distant تعني بعيد. الماضي الذي ليس ببعيد. Well, number one, there is a saying that history repeats itself. There is a saying that history repeats itself. هنالك saying يعني مقولة بأن التاريخ يكرر نفسه، يعيد نفسه. What does this mean? ماذا يعني ذلك? Can you think of any examples? هل يمكن أن تفكر بأية أمثلة? Let's see the text, then we'll answer this question. The past in the present. الماضي في الحاضر. الماضي في الحاضر. Breaking news. Breaking news. Breaking news, it means أخبار عاجلة. So there are 3 breaking news. 3 أخبار عاجلة. Number 1, the West has sent more soldiers. جنود. Okay, soldiers to Iraq. The West has sent more soldiers to Iraq. الغرب أرسل جنوداً أكثر إلى العراق. Enemy fighters there have captured. Enemy تعني عدو. Fighters محارب. Fight, the verb fight, it means يحارب. Fight يحارب. Fighter محارب. Fighters محاربي أو مقاتلي العدو. Okay, so محاربي أو مقاتلي العدو there هنالك have captured. هون التي مع اليو نلفظها captured أسروا and executed أعدموا. أسروا وأعدموا the leader من الفعل lead يقود. leader القائد. قائد of the Western Army. أعدموا قائد الجيش الغربي. Western Army الجيش الغربي. Again, number 1, the West has sent more soldiers to Iraq. Enemy fighters there have captured and executed the leader of the Western Army. 2. More refugees. Refugees means لاجئون. More refugees have tried to enter the country. لاجئون أكثر أو المزيد من اللاجئين have tried. This is present perfect حاضر تام. have tried حاولوا to enter أن يدخلوا. حاولوا أن يدخلوا the country البلد. After the government announced أعلنت بعد أن government الحكومة أعلنت that no more will be allowed in. بأنه لن allowed يسمح in يعني بالدخول. لن يسمح بدخول المزيد. So more refugees have tried to enter the country after the government announced that no more will be allowed in. One leader has already built a wall to try and keep foreigners. The G here is silent. We say foreigners, not foreigners. It's, it's too difficult to pronounce, so we say foreigners. G is silent. To keep foreigners out. قائد أو أحد القادة والleader has already مسبقا بنى جدارا to try ليحاول أن keep ويبقي foreigners الأجانب خارج. 3. There have been more protests إضرابات عفوا احتجاجات. There have been more protests against high government taxes. there have been كان هنالك احتجاجات أكثر against ضد high government taxes. tax تعني ضريبة. high government taxes ضرائب الحكومة العالية. protesters المحتجون say that ordinary people يقولون بأن الناس العاديين are paying too much tax. بأن الناس العاديين يدفعون ضرائب أكثر. too much tax أو sorry paying too much tax يعني ضرائب كثيرة جدا. Because the rich have found ways to avoid paying there. لأن the rich الأغنياء have found ways وجدوا طرقا to avoid paying theirs. avoid ليتجنب دفع theirs يعني ضرائبهم. ليتجنبوا دفع ضرائبهم. So again, number 3. There have been more protests against high government taxes. Protesters say that ordinary people are paying too much tax because the rich have found ways to avoid paying theirs. Now, same old problems. المشاكل القديمة نفسها. Surprisingly بشكل مفاجئ there aren't recent news stories. لا يوجد أخبار حديثة. أو عفوا هذه ليست أخبار حديثة أو جديدة. Their ancient history. إنهم التاريخ القديم. This was all happening 2000 years ago. كل هذا كان يحدث منذ 2000 عام مضى. The West الغرب was the Roman Empire. الغرب كان the Roman Empire كان الإمبراطورية الرومانية. And Iraq was Mesopotamia. والعراق كان What's the meaning of Mesopotamia? بلاد ما بين النهرين. So the West was the Roman Empire. الغرب كان الإمبراطورية الرومانية والعراق كان بلاد ما بين النهرين. Mesopotamia. The refugees were the Goths. اللاجئون كانوا Goths القوطيون. Escaping the hands. هاربون. escape الفعل escape يهرب. escaping هاربون the hands. هاربون من hands المغول. who were invading their land. الذين كانوا يغزون يغزو أراضيهم. The wall was Hadrian's wall. الجدار كان جدار هادريان in the north of England. في شمال إنجلترا. But built to stop the early Scots coming into Roman Britain. built to stop بني ليوقف early Scots يعني Scots هن الاسكتلنديين الأوائل أوائل من القدوم للرومان Britain من بريطانيا الرومانية. Taxes were high to pay for Roman wars. الضرائب كانت high عالية to pay لدفعها للحروب الرومانية. and unemployment والبطالة. But rich people knew how to move their money to places where the government couldn't tax it. لكن الأغنياء عرفوا how to move their money. عرفوا كيف ينقلون أموالهم to places إلى أماكن where the government حيث الحكومة couldn't tax it لا تستطيع أن tax it يعني تفرض ضرائب عليها. tax هي الضريبة. couldn't tax it. So perhaps it's true that history repeats itself. لذا ربما it's true إنه صحيح أن التاريخ يعيد أو يكرر نفسه. Again, same old problems. Surprisingly, these are not recent news stories. They're ancient history. This was all happening 2000 years ago. The West was the Roman Empire and Iraq was Mesopotamia. The refugees were the Goths escaping the Huns who were invading their land. The wall was Hadrian's Wall in the north of England, built to stop the early Scots coming into Roman Britain. Taxes were high to pay for Roman wars and unemployment, but rich people knew how to move their money to, one second. Yes, taxes were high to pay for Roman wars and unemployment, but rich people knew how to move their money to places where the government couldn't tax it. So perhaps it's true that history repeats itself. Yes, Tasneem, would you like to read?
Yes.
Go
Same
ahead.
old problems. Super single. These are not recent news stories. They are ancient history. This was all happening 2,000 years ago. The West was the Roman Empire, and Iraq was Meso, Meso,
Mesopotamia.
Mesopotam- Mesopot- Mesopotamia.
Mesopotamia.
Mesopotamia. Mesopotamia.
Yes, that's right.
The refugees were the gods.
Refugees.
Ref-
Refugees.
Refugees. The refugees were the ghosts escaping the Huns who were invading their land. The wall was Hadrian's Wall in the north of England, uh, built to stop the early Scots coming into Roman Britain. Taxes were high to pay for Roman wars and employment, but
Un-
rich
no, unemployment.
unemployment. But rich people knew how to move their money to places where the government could not tax it. So perhaps it's true that history repeats itself.
Repeats.
Repeats itself.
Thank you. The Romans in Britain. الرومان يعني الرومان في بريطانيا. However, على أي حال, many of the good things, العديد من الأشياء الجيدة in our lives, في حياتنا, are also reminders. Reminders يعني تذكارات أو شيء اللي بيذكرك بشيء تاني. Okay, so reminders, تذكارات of our ancient past لتاريخنا الماضي عفوا لماضينا القديم ancient past لماضينا القديم. People often don't realize this. Realize يدرك. Can you say it تسنيم? Realize.
Realize.
Yeah. So الناس غالبا لا يدركون don't realize this لا يدركون ذلك because they've forgotten they have forgotten لأنهم نسوا how much of their culture has come from foreign peoples. So لأنهم نسوا how much كم من ثقافتنا عفوا كم من ثقافتهم of their culture has come أتت from foreign peoples من الشعوب الأجنبية. هلأ people نحن بنعرف ناس لكن لما نضيف اس الجمع بتصير عنا شعوب أجنبية. This is certainly true. هذا بالتأكيد certainly بالتأكيد true صحيح in Britain في بريطانيا where the Romans ruled for nearly 400 years where the Romans حيث الرومان ruled حكموا for nearly 400 years لقرابة 400 عام. Again, the Romans in Britain. However, many of the good things in our lives are also reminders of our ancient past. People often don't realize this because they've forgotten how much of their culture has come from foreign peoples. This is certainly true in Britain, where the Romans ruled for nearly 400 years. يعني بمعنى كان عنا بريطانيا وإجوا الرومان عليها احتلوها. فهلأ كتير من الإنجازات أو كتير من الأشياء يلي وصلوا لها ببريطانيا هي نتيجة الرومان يلي هن اخترعوا أو أثروا بهذا البلد. فهلأ أكيد الناس نسيوا لأنه مرق كتير على هذا الوقت، لكن الرومان كان لهم تأثير كتير على بريطانيا لأنهم حكموا بريطانيا ل400 عام 400 years. فهلأ بدنا نشوف شو هي الأشياء يلي كانت ببريطانيا بسبب الرومان بسبب حكم الرومان لبريطانيا. What good have the Romans done for us? ما هو الجيد الذي فعله الرومان لنا؟ Firstly, the roads الشوارع الطرق roads. Romans built the first superhighways. highways هي الطرق السريعة الخارقة. أوكي، إذا الرومان بنوا الطرق السريعة الخارقة الأولى for their armies. أوكي، يعني مو على سواد عيونهم عملوا لهم هاي الطرق، لا، كرمال الجنود كرمال الجيش يلي عندهم for their armies لأجل جيوشهم to move along quickly لينتقلوا على طولها along على طولها quickly بسرعة. It's easy to see which modern British roads have followed the 9,600 kilometers of old Roman roads. It's easy to see which modern, I'm sorry, one second. Yes. إذا من السهل to see رؤية من السهل رؤية أيها الطرق البريطانية الحديثة أو عفوا أن الطرق البريطانية الحديثة have followed اتبعت أوكي يعني مشيوا على نهج الطرق اللي كانوا عم يعملوها على نفس النمط عملوا هي الطرق البريطانيين فيما بعد. اوكي يلي هي كانت 9,600 kilometers of old Roman roads. They are long يعني الطرق الرومانية كانت long طويلة like this in this picture مثل يلي بالصورة عنا long طويلة wide واسعة and incredibly straight يعني مباشرة بشكل لا يصدق. مباشرة يعني مثل يلي هون هلأ عنا بالصورة مباشرة يعني ما فيها كتير لفة على يمين وعلى شمال أو فيها كتير تمام مفارق وهيك، لا هي بتكون straight يعني مباشر أو مستقيم أو مباشر. So again, the first good thing is the roads الطرق. Romans built the first superhighways for their armies to move along quickly. It's easy to see which modern British routes have followed the 9,600 kilometers of old Roman roads. They are long, wide, and incredibly straight. Yes, Tasneem?
Words. Romans built the first highways for their armies to move along quickly. It's easy to see which modern bridge roads have followed the 9,600 kilometers of old Roman roads. They are long, wide, and incredibly straight.
Thank you. 2. The second good thing. الشيء الثاني يلي أيضا عملوا لنا إياه قبل الرومان عملوه ببريطانيا هو الجلوبال كرنسي. global currency. currency تعني عملة. العملة global عالمية. العملة العالمية عملوا لهم عملة عالمية. The British said no to the euro. البريطانيون قالوا لا لليورو، يعني رفضوا إنه يتعاملوا باليورو in 1992 في عام 1992 but they have had a global currency before لكن كان لديهم عملة عالمية قبل ذلك before people could spend Roman coins all over Europe الناس استطاعوا أن ينفقوا coins هي العملة النقدية اللي موجودة هون بالصورة coins العملة النقدية الرومانية في كل أنحاء أوروبا and in Turkey and North Africa وفي تركيا وأفريقيا الشمالية عفوا شمالي أفريقيا أيضا again global currency the British said no to the euro in 1992 but they have but they have had a global currency before people could spend Roman coins all over Europe and in Turkey and North Africa too. Yes, Tasneem?
Global, global currency. The British said no to the euro in 1992, but they have had a global currency before. People could spend Roman coins all over Europe and in Turkey and North Africa too.
Thanks. The third good thing ثالث شيء جيد عملوه هو newspapers. صحف. The first newspaper was created in 53 before Christmas. إذا الصحيفة الأولى was created أنشئت في عام 53 BC اختصار ل before Christmas يعني قبل الميلاد. So BC, it means before Christmas. On the orders of Julius Caesars, بأوامر orders بأوامر لقيصر Julius Caesars, it was actually a news stone. كانت يعني صحيفة حجرية news stone أوكي منقوشة على حجر news stone and people could read copies of it copies نسخ والناس استطاعوا أن يقرأوا نسخا عنها أو نسخا منها in public places في الأماكن العامة. Again, newspapers. The first newspapers was created in 53 before Christmas on the orders of Julius Caesar. It was actually a news stone and people could read copies of it in public places. Listening.
In newspapers. The first newspaper was created in 53 before Christmas of the orders of Ulysses Caesar. It was actually a newsstand, and people could read copies of it in public places.
Public places.
Public places.
Yeah. Central heating. Central heating. التدفئة المركزية. The Romans didn't enjoy British winters. الرومان لم يستمتعوا بالشتاء البريطاني. A soldier's letter sent home from Hadrian's Wall asked for more socks and underpants to keep the cold out. Again, soldier's letter رسالة جندي sent مرسلة للوطن من جدار هادريان asked طلبت أو عفوا طلب more socks جوارب أكثر and underpants وسراويل داخلية to keep the cold out ليبقي البرد بعيدا okay يعني ليتجنب البرد keep the cold out. However على أي حال life inside their villas was lovely and warm. الحياة داخل فيلاتهم الفيلا أو فيلاتهم أو قصورهم كانت جميلة ودافئة. And we've taken the idea of underfloor central heating from them. وأخذنا فكرة underfloor الطابق الأرضي للتدفئة المركزية underfloor central heating طابق أرضي للتدفئة المركزية منهم. اوكي اذا ببريطانيا كانوا يعانوا من البرد الرومان لكن بقصورهم بالقصور تبعهم كان عندهم دفء لانه كان عندهم فكره انه طابق للتدفئه المركزيه underfloor central heating. Flashing toilets. مراحيض الصرف الصحي. Flushing. Roman aqueducts. القنوات المائية الرومانية brought fresh water into towns and cities. إذن aqueducts القنوات الرومانية جلبت الماء النقي للبلدات والمدن. This was completely new in Britain. ذلك كان جديدا بشكل كامل في بريطانيا. يعني ما كان عندهم قنوات للصرف الصحي من قبل. لا الرومان اخترعوا لهم وطبقوها عندهم. There was the amazing luxury. هلا هي الكلمة اللي هي رفاهية. فينا نقول luxury فينا نقول luxury or luxury. So there was the amazing luxury of public baths. أيضا كانت هنالك رفاهية المذهلة للحمامات العامة. Even hot ones. حتى الحمامات الحارة. Ones يعني عائدة على الحمامات. حتى الحمامات الحارة in the city of Bath. في مدينة باث. And we've certainly learned the importance of another use for this water system. certainly بالتأكيد learned the importance تعلمنا أهمية استخدام آخر للنظام المائي to flush away the sewage from the toilets. To flush away لتصريف the sewage هي مياه الصرف الصحي لتصريف مياه الصرف الصحي من المراحيض from toilets. Again, flushing toilets. Roman aqueducts brought fresh water into towns and cities. This was completely new in Britain. There was the amazing luxury of public baths, even hot ones in the city of Bath. And we've certainly learned the importance of another use for this water system to flush away the sewage from the toilets. Tasneem?
Flushing toilets. Roman aqueduct brought fresh water into towns and cities. This was completely new in Britain. There was the amazing luxury of public baths, even hot ones in the city of Bath. And we have certainly learned the importance of another use for this water system to flush away the sewage from toilets.
Thank you. Fast food. الطعام السريع. The Romans created large towns. الرومان أسسوا بلدات large كبيرة, and the soldiers passing through them والجنود الذين كانوا يمرون خلالهم wanted quick and easy food. أرادوا طعاما سهلا وسريعا to eat ليأكلوه on the move خلال الانتقال on the move أو في الانتقال كلما ينتقلوا من مكان لمكان. يعني حتى الجنود يقدروا ياكلوا. بنوا هاي البلدات الكبيرة وعم يكون فيها quick and easy food طعام سريع وسهل. The British began selling food from street stalls. البريطانيون بدأوا ببيع الطعام من street stalls من أكشاك الشوارع. Using new foods and recipes مستخدمين أطعمة ووصفات جديدة recipes وصفات. The Roman brought with them يعني الوصفات ما كانت بريطانية أو الطعام ما كان بريطاني لا كانت وصفات رومانية. Yeah, brought them with them. So the Romans brought with them. الرومان جربوها معهم. The minced meat اللحم المفروم minced meat اللحم المفروم. patties فطائر. إذا فطائر اللحم المفروم with bread مع الخبز and lettuce والخس sound very like our modern hamburgers. تبدو أو تشبه كثيرا الهامبرجرز الحديثة همبرجر يلي عنا هلأ. Yes, so again, fast food. The Romans created large towns, and the soldiers passing through them wanted a quick and easy food to eat on the move. The British began selling food from street stalls, using new foods and recipes. The Romans brought with them the minced made patties with bread and lettuce, sound very like our modern hamburgers. Tasneem?
Fast food. The Romans created large towns, and the soldiers passing through them wanted quick and easy food to eat on the move. The British began selling food from street stalls, using new foods and recipes the Romans brought with them. The minced meat patties with bread and lettuce sound very like our modern hamburgers.
Thank you. Calendars التقويم تقويم. We continue to use the Roman year. استمرينا باستخدام السنة الرومانية with 365 days ب 365 يوم and a leap year. leap year هي السنة الكبيسة. نعرف في كل 4 سنوات بيكون عنا عام بتكون في شهر شباط في 29 يوم بدل 28. فهي السنة اللي بيكون فيها شباط فيه يوم زيادة بنقول عليها سنة كبيسة، هي leap year. إذا إذا استمروا باستخدام العام أو السنة الرومانية، يعني التقويم نفسه مع 365 يوم، وسنة والثابة أو نفس السنة الكبيسة يعني عنا every 4 years كل 4 سنوات. The months of July and August are a living reminder of the Roman emperors Julius and Augustus. أشهر تموز وآب are a living reminder مذكرات حية، يعني بذكرونا بالإمبراطورين الرومانيين جوليوس or يوليوس، أوكي، على اسمه يعني، وأوغسطس أوغست من أوغسطس، أيضا الإمبراطور أوغسطس. Again, calendars, we've continued to use the Roman year with the 365 days and a leap year every 4 years. The months of July and August are a living reminder of the Roman Emperor Julius and Augustus. تسنيم.
Calendars. We have continued to use the Roman year with 365 days and a leap year every 4 years. The months of July and August are a living reminder of the Roman emperors Julius and August.
Emperors.
Emperor.
Yeah. Thank you, Tasneem. Exercise number 4. Read the correct. Read the rest of the text. اقرأ بقية النص. What good had the Romans done for us? ما الجيد الذي فعله الرومان لنا? Correct these false statements. صحح هذه الجمل الخاطئة. Number 1. There are 9,600 kilometers of modern roads in Britain. كان هنالك 9600 كيلومتر من الطرق الحديثة في بريطانيا. هي كانت حديثة أو الرومان صنعوها؟ هي 9600. Yes, old Roman roads وليس modern roads. هي ما كانت طرق حديثة، لا، old Roman roads. Two, the British have never used the global currency. البريطانيون لم يستخدموا عملة عالمية أبدا. كان عندهم العملة الرومانية Roman coins. People could spend the Roman coins all over Europe. إذا كانت عملة عالمية بيقدروا يستخدموها بكل أنحاء أوروبا، بتركيا وبشمال إفريقيا. إذا هي كانت عملة عالمية العملة الرومانية. Okay, so the British used the Roman currency. So number 2. Used a global currency. Before. There was only one copy of the first Roman newspapers. كان هنالك نسخة واحدة من الصحيفة الرومانية الأولى أو الصحف الرومانية الأولى.
People could read copies, not one copy.
Yes, so people could read copies of it in public places. So there were copies of the first. So that's not right. There were copies. كان عندنا نسخ مو واحدة فقط، مو نسخة واحدة. So there were copies in public places. 4. The Romans needed to wear lots of pairs of socks in their villas. الرومان احتاجوا أن يلبسوا الكثير من الجوارب في فيلاتهم.
They didn't need to wear a lot because they had a central heating.
Yeah, that's right. So the Romans needed, no, they didn't need. فقط بننفيها بنقول they didn't need. The Romans didn't need to wear lots of pairs of socks in their villas. 5. Roman aqueducts in the cities were better than the old British ones. القنوات المائية الرومانية في المدن كانت أفضل من عفوا من القنوات البريطانية القديمة.
It was fresh water in towns and cities.
لكن الفكرة إنه ما كان في أيضا ما كان في أصلا قنوات مائية رومانية، لأنه عفوا قنوات مائية بريطانية، لأنه الرومان هن اللي جابوها على بريطانيا، يعني ما كان في من قبل. تمام. So Roman aqueducts in the cities ما كانت أحسن من البريطانية لأنه أصلا ما كان في بريطانيا. Okay, so the Roman aqueducts were completely new. كانت جديدة كليا. And the cities were okay خلينا نشطب هي النهاية نقول Roman aqueducts in the cities were completely new in Britain. كانت جديدة بشكل كامل في بريطانيا. Six. The British used their own recipes to make food for the Romans. البريطانيون استخدموا وصفاتهم ليصنعوا الطعام للرومان. هي ما كانت وصفاتهم، هي كانت new recipes، وصفات جديدة to make food to make food, or let's say the British used their it's not there, used new recipes the Romans brought with them. الرومان جلبوها معهم. So the British used new recipes the Romans brought with them. 7. We have added an extra day to the Roman year. أضفنا يوم إضافي للسنة الرومانية.
They are continued to use the Roman year.
Yes, that's right. We have continued to use the Roman year. the Romanier. Now vocabulary, المفردات. Match these words from the text with their definitions. صل الكلمات من النص مع تعاريفهم. 1. To capture. Capture يأسر. 2. To execute يعدم. 3. To announce. To announce يعلن. To avoid يتجنب. To invade يغزو. Taxes ضرائب. A reminder مذكر. To rule يحكم. Minced مفروم. Sewage مياه الصرف الصحي. So number 1A, something that makes you remember. شيء ما يجعلك تتذكر. What is the word?
Reminder.
Yeah, reminder.
Yep.
Number 7. B, cut into very small pieces. مقطع لأجزاء صغيرة جدا.
Means it.
Minced مفروم. To kill a prisoner. أن تقتل سجينا.
To roll.
To execute يعدم.
Mhm.
D. What comes out of toilets? ما يخرج من المراحيض.
Sweet.
Sewage. To catch and take prisoner. أن تمسك وتأخذ سجينا. Number 1. To capture يأسر. F. To enter as an enemy. أن تدخل كعدو. 5.
5.
Yeah. To invade يغزو. G. To say something publicly. أن تقول شيئا ما بشكل عام أو للعامة.
3.
3. To announce. Money you pay to the government. المال الذي تدفعه للحكومة.
6. Taxes.
Taxes. To find a way not to do something. أن تجد طريقة لأن لا تفعل شيئا ما.
4.
4. To avoid. يتجنب. To control a country. أن تحكم بلدا.
6. 8. 9. 8.
8. To rule. اوكي تسنيم، هناخد بريك 10 دقايق ونكمل. Okay, Tasneem, the break is over. Let's continue our lecture. Now, exercise number 2. Listen to David Taylor Powys. He comes from England. هو من إنجلترا. But now lives in Perth. لكن الآن يعيش في Perth, Australia. David has become interested in his family. أصبح ديفيد مهتما بعائلته أو عفوا بتاريخ عائلته and is researching it ويبحث فيها. أوكي. هلا حنسمع الأوديو. بعد الأوديو حنحل الأسئلة لكن حنترجم حتى تعرفي على شو المعلومات اللي حنركز عليها. How long has David lived in Perth? كم عاش في بيرث؟ تسنيم, are you there?
Yes.
تمام, أوكي. إذا السؤال الأول كم عاش في بيرث؟ 2. Who are the 2 Alices in his life? من هما الاثنتان من أليس في حياته؟ يعني في بحياته تنتين اسمهم أليس. who are the 2 Alices? مين هن؟ 3. Where does his grandmother live? أين تعيش جدته؟ 4. Where were her brothers and sisters? Where were her brothers and sisters born? أين ولد إخوته وأخواته. 5. What did her father do for a living? ماذا كان يعمل والده؟ 6. What did her ancestors do in the 9th century? ماذا فعل ancestors أسلافه يعني أجداده يعني جد الجد. أوكي, يعني الأجداد البعيدين هدول من لهم ancestors أسلاف في القرن ال19. 7. What does she say? What does she say is the result of this. ماذا قالت نتيجة ذلك? And why did the family leave the Orkney Islands? لماذا العائلة غادرت جزر أوركني؟ Let's listen.
David Taylor Bewes. I come from Newcastle in England, but I live in Perth, Australia now. I've been here nearly 10 years. My wife, Jodie, is Australian, and our children, Russell and Alice, were born here. Alice is named after her great-grandmother. That's my grandmother, Alice Bewes. She is 89 now and still lives in Newcastle, and she's in great shape for her age. Now, there's a programme on TV called Who Do You Think You Are, where famous people find out all about their family histories, going right back. I love it, and it's made me want to know more about my own family history. You can do a lot of research online, but even better, I've started finding out more from my grandmother, and she loves talking about it all. I knew that she was one of 9 children, which is amazing, but I didn't know she was the youngest, and the only one born in England. Her brothers and sisters were all born in Scotland, and that's where we all come from originally, from the Orkney Islands, which are in the very north of Scotland. My great-grandfather was a farmer there over 100 years ago. And I love this. My grandmother told me that our family's ancestors were actually Norwegian. They came over to Scotland in the 9th century. She says that's why we all have blonde hair in our family. Isn't that amazing? Anyway, it became more and more difficult for my great-grandparents to make a living there as farmers. So they travelled south and finally arrived in the north of England in Newcastle with their 8 children. Alice was born not long after they arrived.
Tasneem, was it clear? Shall I play the audio again?
Yes.
Okay.
6.13. David Taylor Buse. I come from Newcastle in England, but I live in Perth, Australia now. I've been here nearly 10 years. My wife, Jodie, is Australian, and our children, Russell and Alice, were born here. Alice is named after her great-grandmother. That's my grandmother, Alice Buse. She's 89 now and still lives in Newcastle, and she's in great shape for her age. Now, there's a programme on TV called Who Do You Think You Are, where famous people find out all about their family histories, going right back. I love it, and it's made me want to know more about my own family history. You can do a lot of research online, but even better, I've started finding out more from my grandmother, and she loves talking about it all. I knew that she was one of 9 children, which is amazing, but I didn't know she was the youngest, and the only one born in England. Her brothers and sisters were all born in Scotland, and that's where we all come from originally, from the Orkney Islands, which are in the very north of Scotland. My great-grandfather was a farmer there over 100 years ago, and I love this. My grandmother told me that our family's ancestors were actually Norwegian. They came over to Scotland in the 9th century. She says that's why we all have blonde hair in our family. Isn't that amazing? Anyway, it became more and more difficult for my great-grandparents to make a living there as farmers. So they travelled south and finally arrived in the north of England in Newcastle with their 8 children. Alice was born not long after they arrived.
All right, number 1. How long has David lived in Perth?
10 years.
Yes, nearly 10 years. تقريبا 10 سنوات. 2. Who are the 2 Alices in his life?
His child.
His daughter. Okay, ابنته بنقول daughter. Who else?
And his
And his grandmother. هلا grandmother جدته. grandmother يعني جدته. His his great grandmother. Three. Where does his grandmother live? أين عاشت جدته?
in Newcastle.
Yes, she lives in Newcastle. She lived in Newcastle. 4. Where were her brothers and sisters born? أين ولدوا إخوتها وأخواتها?
In Scotland.
Actually on the Orkney Island. على جزيرة Orkney. They were born on Orkney Island. Islands. 5. What did her father do for a living? ماذا عمل والدها؟ يعني والد جدته شو كان بيشتغل؟
مزارع كأنه.
Yes, farmer. He was a farmer. 6. What did her ancestor do in the 9th century? ماذا فعل أسلافها في القرن التاسع؟ They, yes,
Scotland.
they came over to Scotland from Norway. اجوا على اسكتلندا من النرويج. So the family ancestors came over to Scotland from Norway. من النرويج. 7. What does she say is the result of this? شو كانت نتيجة إنه إجوا على اسكتلندا من النرويج؟ A lot of blonde hair. Blonde hair هو الشعر الأشقري. So there are a lot of people with a blonde hair in the family. اوكي صار عندهم كتير شقر بالعيلة. There are a lot of blonde people in the family. Or blonde, a lot of people with blonde hair. خلينا نقول a lot of people with blonde hair in the family. Eight. Why did the family leave the Orkney Islands? لماذا العائلة غادرت جزر الأوركني؟
Because it was difficult.
Yeah, it became difficult to make living in farming. يعني صار صعب عليهم يشتغلوا بالزراعة. Right? So it became difficult for them to make a living in farming. Okay, now everyday English. الإنجليزية اليومية. Let's see. هلأ بدنا نتعرف على شيء جديد اللي هو ال question tags الاستفهام التوكيدي. Let's see. The weather is lovely today. تسنيم الجملة هون هل هي إيجابية أم منفية؟ The weather is lovely today.
إيجابية.
تمام. وين الفعل المساعد؟
is.
is. طيب الفاعل the weather إذا بدنا نستخدم ضمير بدل عن يعني بدل الكلمة الواضحة اللي هي the weather شو ممكن نبدل الاسم بضمير؟
it.
it. تمام. إذا استفهام التوكيد اللي بنعمله بإنه نستخدم الفعل المساعد يلي بالجملة يلي هو is. إذا كان بالجملة منفي حنعمله إيجابي وإذا كان إيجابي حنعمله منفي يعني بعكس الجملة تماما. هلأ هون عنا إياه إيجابي فمنقول isn't وبنستخدم ضمير الفاعل. يعني لو كان عنا ضمير أوكي تمام. أما لو كان اسم مثل هاد the weather فنحوله لضمير isn't it. ترجمة هاد يلي هو هاد بنقله question tag يعني استفهام توكيدي. الترجمة هي أليس كذلك؟ يعني الطقس كان جميلا اليوم isn't it؟ أليس كذلك؟ شوفي أيضا yes it's beautiful. نعم إنه جميل. And we all love days like this. طيب الجملة هون أيضا إيجابية. وين الفعل المساعد هون تسنيم؟
ما في، لأنه هو عن الفعل love، نحط له do.
تماما صحيح، لأنه الجملة هون حاضر بسيط. في عنا جمل بالحاضر البسيط بيبقى ما فيها فعل مساعد، فبهي الحالة مثل ما كنا نعمل بالأسئلة بالحاضر البسيط حنجيب الفعل المساعد do. الجملة إيجابية فحنعمله منفي، نقول don't. الفاعل هو we، ف don't we. And we all love days like this. وجميعنا نحب أيام كهذه. Don't we? أليس كذلك؟ We certainly do. بالتأكيد. Mommy, our new cat isn't very big. قطتنا الجديدة ليست كبيرة. فالمساعد is الجملة منفية، فالاستفهام التوكيدي حيكون إيجابي. is she. هلأ هون بدلوا cat بالضمير she لأنه عندهم بيشخصنوا الحيوانات بتعيش معهم، فبتبقى عندهم يعني إلى قيمتها، يعني قيمتها كتير كبيرة عندهم. فممكن نقول is it وممكن نقول is she، اعتبروها عاقل يعني. فما في مشكلة، فينا نقول is she أو فينا نقول is it. No, she isn't. She's just a kitten. إنها هرة فقط. But she will grow bigger, won't she? الفعل المساعد هو will. هلأ will مع not اختصاره won't. والفاعل هو she. won't she؟ أليس كذلك؟ لكنها ستكبر. أليس كذلك؟ Yes, of course she will. بالطبع. She will be as big as our old cat soon. ستكبر كقطتنا القديمة قريبا. We had such a good holiday. هلأ هون هاد ليست فعل مساعد لأنه ما في بعدها فعل بالتصريف الثالث. have وهاز وهاد أفعال الملك ما بنقدر نعتبرهم فعل مساعد إلا لما يجي بعدهم فعل بالتصريف الثالث. إذا هاد هون هي فعل أساسي بالجملة. والجملة هون ماضي بسيط لأنه يعني ما عندي have، لا عندي had. فهون الفعل المساعد اللي بدنا نجيبه هو did وليس do. فمنقول didn't we? Yes, we did. I really enjoyed it. And it wasn't too expensive. لم تكن غالية جدا. Was it? No, it wasn't. It wasn't expensive at all. لم تكن غالية إطلاقا. The baby looks just like her mom. الطفل يبدو تماما كوالدته، أو الطفلة تبدو تماما كوالدتها. طبعا looks أيضا هنا عندي حاضر بسيط. فعل المساعد اللي حنستخدمه هو does لأنه الفعل معه s. فمنقول doesn't she. She does. Same blue eyes, same nose. نفس العيون الزرقاء ونفس الأنف. But she has got her dad's blonde hair. لكن لديها شعر والدها الأشقر. has got. هلا هون هي has فعل مساعد. ليش؟ لأنه في بعدها فعل بالتصريف الثالث يلي هو got. فمنقول hasn't she. She is very fair. هلا the words in bold الكلمات يلي هلا قرأناها يلي حكينا عنها إنه هي استفهام توكيدي are question tags. اسمه question tags. They aren't really questions. هم ليسوا أسئلة حقيقية. They mean I want you to agree with me. إنهم يعنون أريدك أن تتفق معي. منقول بالعربي مو هيك؟ على نفس المبدأ أليس كذلك؟ ما عم أحكي صحيح؟ تمام. فهي isn't it don't we is she. هي يعني صحيح عم أحكي، يعني إنه عم أطلب معك حتى تتفق معي تأكد لي على كلامي. فهي أكيد ليست سؤال حقيقي. Am I clear to see?
Yes.
Good. Exercise number 3. Complete the sentences with a question tag. أكمل الجمل باستفهام توكيد. Number 1. Dominic's party was brilliant. Yes, what do you think?
Dominic's party was brilliant. Wasn't it?
صحيح. 2. Karen knows a lot about gardens.
Didn't he? Didn't
هلا Karen she's a girl أول شي. تاني شي عندي knows present simple. حاضر بسيط.
does she?
بدها تكون منفية لأنه جملة إيجابية.
Doesn't she?
Doesn't she? Very good. 3. You went to school with my brother. Went فعل ماضي بسيط.
Didn't you?
Didn't you? Learning language isn't easy.
Sorry. Is it?
Is it? 5. My English has improved a lot. Has improved. Has improved هون has فعل بالتصريف في بعد فعل بالتصريف الثالث. إذن هي فعل مساعد has هون.
إذن hasn't it?
Hasn't it? You won't forget to call me.
Will you?
Will you? Very good, Tasneem. Thank you very much. Well, exercise number 4. You need to say more than just yes or no in reply to question tags. تحتاج لأن تقول أكثر من نعم أو لا للإجابة على الاستفهام التوكيدي. فصل الإجابات مع الجمل في التمرين الثالث. Number 1 or A. Yes, I did. We've been good friends ever since. نعم فعلت. لقد أصبحنا أصدقاء جيدين منذ ذلك الحين. 3. B. Yes, it was. I had a great time on the dance floor. نعم كانت كذلك. استمتعت بوقتي على حلبة الرقص أو على أرض الرقص.
1.
C. No, of course not. بالطبع لا. I'll call as soon as possible. Sorry, I'll call as soon as I get home. سأتصل حالما أصل إلى المنزل. 6. D. No, it isn't. It takes time and lots of practice. كلا ليست كذلك. تأخذ وقتا تستغرق وقتا وكثيرا من التمرين. 4. Yes, she does. She's helped me a lot with mine. نعم هي كذلك ساعدتني كثيرا بحديقتي.
2.
Yes, it has. You sound much more natural now. نعم تبدو طبيعيا أكثر الآن.
5.
Thanks. Well, now writing الكتابة. كتابة biography سيرة ذاتية. هلأ عنا هون فقرات بتحكي عن biography برنسس ديانا، بتحكي عن السيرة الذاتية للأميرة ديانا، لكن الفقرات مخربطين فحنرتبهم أولا بعدين حنقرأهم ونترجع. الفقرة الأولى هي When Diana Spencer married Prince Charles and became Princess Diana, عندما الأميرة ديانا تزوجت من الأمير تشارلز and became Princess Diana وأصبحت الأميرة ديانا. She also became one of the biggest celebrities. Celebrities يعني مشاهير. هي أصبحت واحدة من المشاهير الأكبر في الثمانينات والتسعينات. She wasn't a typical British royal. لم تكن ملكية بريطانية نموذجية أو لم تكن ملكة بريطانية نموذجية. However, على أي حال, she had an informal style. كان لديها نمط informal غير رسمي and a special ability to connect with ordinary people. special ability ومقدرة خاصة على to connect لتتواصل أو لتتصل بالناس العاديين. The second paragraph. This is it. Yes, Tasneem, can you read it?
Yes. In the 1960s, people lived in fear of the newly discovered AIDS virus and
AIDS virus.
AIDS virus, and were afraid of connect with the people suffering from it. In 1967, Diana opened Britain's first AIDS hospital ward. The photograph of her shaking hands with its patients without wearing
patients
Why?
مرضى AIDS patients مرضى الإيدز.
تمام. Its patients without wearing gloves completely changed people's ideas about the illness.
Ideas أفكار. In the 1980s في عام 1980 أو في الثمانينات القرن التاسع عشر people lived in fear of the newly discovered AIDS virus. الناس عاشوا in fear بخوف من فيروس الإيدز المكتشف جديدا newly discovered فيروس الإيدز المكتشف حديثا and were afraid of contact with people suffering from it. Were afraid كانوا خائفين من contact من الاتصال بالناس suffering from it الذين يعانون من. In 1987, Diana opened Britain's first AIDS hospital ward. في عام 1987 ديانا فتحت مشفى الإيدز الأول في بريطانيا. The photograph of her shaking hands with AIDS patients without wearing gloves. The photograph صورتها shaking hands يعني تسلم يعني shake hands يعني تسلم على شخص تصافح مرضى الإيدز AIDS patients without wearing gloves بدون ارتداء قفازات completely changed people's ideas about the illness. Completely changed غيرت بشكل كامل أفكار الناس عن المرض. Number 3. Diana did the same for leprosy. Leprosy هو مرض الجذام هو مرض جلدي. Diana did the same for leprosy. Diana فعلت نفس الشيء لمرض الجذام leprosy. the fear of catching it from sufferers and centuries old. It is centuries old. The fear الخوف من catching it من العدوى به from sufferers يعني suffer يعاني sufferers يعني يلي عم يعانوا أو المصابين from sufferers من المصابين يكون قديما من قرون أوكي يعني بيخافوا من هذا المرض من قرون من زمان كتير. And when Diana visited a leprosy hospital in Indonesia وعندما ديانا زارت مشفى للجذام في إندونيسيا her advisors ناصحوها أو مستشاروها suggested she shouldn't touch them اقترحوا بأنه لا ينبغي عليها أن touch them تلمسهم. Diana sat on their beds. Diana جلست على أسرتهم and held their hands وأمسكت أيديهم showing that you can't catch leprosy through physical contact. showing مرية أو كان عم تورجيهم مرية بأنه you can't catch leprosy لا تصاب بالعدوى can't catch يعني ما حتلقط العدوى لن تصاب بالجذام من خلال الاتصال المادي through physical contact. Yes, Tasneem, can you read number 3?
Diana did the same for leprosy. The fear of catching it from sufferers is centuries old.
Centuries old.
Centuries old. And when Diana visited a leprosy hospital in Indonesia, her advisors suggested
advisors. Advice يا نصيحة ينصح advisors مستشار أو ناصح.
advisors suggested she should not
suggested yes
suggested that should not touch them. Diana sat on their beds and held their hands, showing that you can catch leprosy through physical contact.
Number 4. Two other hospitals that Diana often visited were the Great Ormond Street Hospital مشفيين أو مستشفيين آخرين ديانا غالبا كانت تزورهم كانا the Great Ormond Street Hospital for Children للأطفال and the Royal Macedon. Both are in London كلاهما في لندن and have many child cancer patients وفيهم العديد من أطفال أو مرضى أطفال السرطان child cancer patients. Diana spent many hours with them. Diana أمضت ساعات معهم saying بقولها قائلة some of them will live and some will die بعضهم سيعيش وبعضهم سيموت but they all need to be loved while they are here لكن جميعهم يحتاجون للحب بينما هم هنا. Yes, Tasneem, number 4.
Two other hospitals that Diana often visited were the Great Ormond Street Hospital for Children and the Royal Marsden. Both are in London and have many child cancer patients. Diana spent many patients. Diana spent many hours with them, saying some of them will live and some will die, but they all need to be loved while they are here.
Thank you. After her divorce from Prince Charles in 1996. بعد طلاقها من الأمير تشارلز في عام 1996 ديانا appeared less often in public. ديانا ظهرت أقل من الغالب في العامة بالعلن يعني in public بالعامة and did less charity work وقامت بعمل خيري أقل charity خيري قامت بعمل خيري أقل. However على أي حال she continued to be a patron of some charities. استمرت بأن تكون patron كفيلة لبعض الجمعيات الخيرية charities جمعية خيرية including Centerpoint من ضمنهم Centerpoint for homeless people للمشردين homeless مشرد. She visited the charities shelters. زارت shelter هو المأوى أو الملجأ مأوى الجمعية ملجأ الجمعية regularly بشكل منتظم up until she died بشكل منتظم حتى ماتت. Yes, تسنيم. Number 5 after her divorce.
After her divorce from Prince Charles in 1996, Diana appeared less often in public and did less charity work. However, she continued to be a patron of some charities, including Centerpoint for homeless people. She visited the charity shelters regularly up until he died.
She died. Number 6. In the same year as her death, في نفس عام وفاتها 1997, she visited Angola to bring attention to the problem of land mines. هي زارت أنغولا لتجلب الانتباه لمشكلة حقول الألغام land mines. The photograph of her walking through a recently cleared minefield is as famous as the one with the AIDS victim. صورتها تمشي أو ماشية خلال recently cleared minefield خلال حقل ألغام منظف recently حديثا كانت مشهورة كشهرة يعني تلك الصورة مع ضحايا الإيدز. Yes, تسنيم. Number 6.
In the same year as her death, 1997, he visited Angola to bring attention to the problem of land mines.
Yes.
Land mines. The photograph of her walking through a recently cleared minefield is as famous as the one with the AIDS victim.
Thanks. It was after her death that Diana became known as the People's Princess. كان بعد وفاتها أن أصبحت ديانا known as معروفة ب the People's Princess بأميرة الشعب أو أميرة الناس. Many people wanted to give money to the charities which she supported. العديد من الناس أرادوا أن يعطوا المال للجمعيات الخيرية التي supported دعمتها and the Princess Diana Memorial Fund managed the 34 million pounds that was collected. و fund مؤسسة أو جمعية جمعية الأميرة ديانا قدرت على أن تجمع 34 مليون جنيه. Okay, that was collected. Okay, قدرت على جمع 34 مليون جنيه. Yes, تسنيم, number 7.
It was after her death that Diana became known as the people's princess. Many people wanted to give money to the charities, which she supported, and the Princess Diana Memorial Fund managed the 34 million that was collected.
Thank you, Tasneem. Any questions?
No, thank you.
You're welcome. Good night.